There's a homeless man who was jaywalking. He ends up being killed by the police. Let me take you to the video.
Like this is a jaywalk. You need to have a control. There we go. How you doing? How you doing?
You gonna stop or make you stop? Because you're telling me to stop. For what? I'm walking. For jaywalking. What are you talking about? I'm walking. Stop. Get up, get up, get up. Stop. I'm walking. Stop. For what? Because you're jaywalking. Get over to the sidewalk. Where? Right there. It's a controlled intersection. Where? It's a controlled intersection.
What intersection? I've been on this side of the street from this rest from that place.
Right there.
Liquor store right there. Where did I take one? Stop touching. Stop touching. Stop touching. I mean, why are you stopping? What is he doing, bro? Stop touching. Stop touching.
They killed him. He's dead. He was jaywalking. That's what the cop said. Let's put up the picture of Mr. Kurt Reinhold. That's him. Say his name. Kurt Reinhold, 42 years of age, father of two, former bodybuilder, had fallen on hard times, and he was homeless. Keep his picture up. An Orange County Sheriff's deputy was determined by the Orange County DA's office to be justified in his fatal September 2020 shooting of a homeless black man in California, who deputies said committed the crime of jaywalking. Deputy Duran was cleared of all wrongdoing in this shooting of a 42-year-old named Kurt Reinhold. In an investigation that looked into the fatal shooting that eventually led to protest, Reinhold's family says he suffered from mental illness and often did not stay on his medication. Now, it's important to note something here that I think is underreported in this story. The officers who did this are homeless liaison officers. They are supposed to be specially trained and equipped to deal with homelessness. Understand that homelessness has connectional factors. You may have an underlying issue of mental health, right? And if you're homeless, listen, if I'm homeless for a few days straight, I guarantee you I will have a mental health issue. Duran and his partner, Deputy Jonathan Israel, were both homeless liaison officers. We are not able to get a picture of both of them. So per protocol, put up the picture of the chief, the county sheriff, Don Barnes. Don Barnes is the guy in charge. Buck stops with him. Who's the DA that decided that this homeless brother who was temporarily unsheltered, all right, who fell on hard times, did not deserve justice? Put up the picture of the district attorney. All right, Todd Spitzer is the DA. There he is. One of the attorneys representing Reinhold's family said, according to Mercury News, disappointed but not surprising when reacting to the deputy being cleared. He also thinks the police stop was racially motivated and had no reason to kill Reinhold. The DA's office and leaders of the sheriff's department say Reinhold was reaching for the deputy's gun while in a struggle with them. There is also surveillance footage from the hotel close, and it looks like it shows Reinhold's hand going towards Duran's gun, but Reinhold's family claims his arms were just flailing while he was on the concrete. and not reaching for the gun, according to Mercury News. In a statement from the family, they say, and I quote, "This conclusion from the report confirms what we have been saying since day one. Deputies Israel and Duran had no reason whatsoever to stop Mr. Reinhold. This was a racially motivated stop aimed at harassing Mr. Reinhold, nothing more." Now, once again, I have to remind everyone, these were supposed to be officers who were specially trained and specially equipped to handle crisis of homelessness. Jaywalking is walking. Let's not get fixated on jaywalking being a crime. Jaywalking isn't a real damn crime. It's walking. A human being is dead for walking. Ms. Tucker, what are your thoughts here?
It sounded real Terry v. Ohio to me, walking while black. That's why we need to know our laws so that we know, first of all, it's a difference between a murder and a killing, right? So we have to allow them to get over the threshold of that. But this is, unfortunately, we have allowed this type of behavior in our law enforcement for a very long time. They targeted that man. There was no reason for them to harass him. However, police only need reasonable suspicion. We don't have a real standard for that. So you could be reasonably suspicious for whatever reason. And who's the reasonable person? Is it a reasonable me, a reasonable person, a reasonable black person, right? So that's the problem, and that's why we need to stay on top of it. This is not okay. We cannot keep allowing our black men to be essentially slaughtered by police officers because they're just untrained properly. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they carry around their hyper-aggressive bias and their implicit bias. And here's the reality of the law. The law in many ways is a very subjective standard, even though it has the disguise of objectivity. In this case, while legally and technically there may be a policy, protocol, or a statute that protects them, the reality is this man should be alive. The way we have allowed law enforcement to rule the industry, we don't allow any other industry to do that. If you are a medical doctor, you have a higher standard of responsibility. If you are a psychiatrist, you have a higher standard of care. If you are a professor, you have a higher standard of care. If you are a police officer, you have a lower standard of responsibility than you or I have a higher standard, more so than cops, when it comes to the negligence of human life.